The Cuphead Show looks fantastic. Today, we're going to be going behind the scenes to figure out what the animators had to do to make it look so good. The first reason the show looks so great is because the team had a lot of really great help. So this guy is James Baxter, one of the most famous animators of all time. He's like super good. He's known for being able to animate basically anything in 3D space. One of his most famous scenes is the Beauty and the Beast shot, where the camera goes all the way from the ceiling to the floor. He animated Rafiki and the Lion King, and he did Spirit, Stallion and the Cimarron. I just can't overstate how great of an animator he is. Turns out, since he works at Netflix, he was able to give the animation team behind Cuphead a lot of really great advice.
We have another show, we're doing the Cuphead Show. That show is being animated at Lighthouse Studios in Ireland, but their challenge was doing this sort of combination of like Fleischer style, but with a little bit of like later Warner Brothers MGM stuff thrown into the mix. So I did a really big deep dive into, well, how do Tom and Jerry animators actually animate? What do they do? What are the things that they really do? How do they get in and out of holes? I mean, because you can kind of like guess at it, but you can actually rip it apart and go.
The next reason the show is so great is because the animation team spent a lot of time on the small details. The directors made tons of notes and eventually put them all together in a document of do's and don'ts, which taught the animators how to draw the characters.
Adam put together one of the episode directors' do's and don'ts. I think he posted about it on Twitter. It's not a lie, it's over 1,000 pages long. And
apparently, this document has thousands of pages. I looked online and couldn't find 1,000 of them, but there are a couple of them I'm playing right here. As you can see, it has notes on how the characters blink, how they walk, how their head tilts, what it should look like. This is really helpful for any animator who's trying to bring these characters to life. Something different about this show was that they used rigged characters as opposed to hand draw. In the original game, which was inspired by 1930s animation, all the animators drew their characters on paper. That gave the game an authentic feel, but it wouldn't have been very practical for a full TV production. The show does look a little bit different from the art style of the game, but it had to be that way. The production team explains why they had to make the show just a little bit different.
People ask themselves like why it doesn't look like the game. I think it's also important for them to know that it is like, you know, part of the storytelling, not just because it's a digital version of what we did for the game. Like it has its own needs and requirements.
Because early on, we were like definitely saying like rubber hose, rubber hose, rubber hose. As we started telling stories, we realized, okay, these are character-driven stories, and they need like moments where it's like the character's emotions can like resonate. The early 1930s stuff, especially, like they just have characters in cycles, and like I think audiences at that time were just like, wow, things are moving on screen. Our audiences have kind of evolved to the point where they need to sell, you know, you need to be able to see emotions and understand how a character's feeling about a situation. It's like 1930s was kind of our jumping off point, but we did evolve a bit in terms of the animation style to make it a bit more contemporary so that the character stories resonated.
They changed some stuff, but they did stay true to the 1930s art style in one very difficult way.
Yeah, in the old 1930s, you know, they couldn't use reuse. Everything had to be, you know, new in every shot. And that was one of the things that kind of Netflix requested of us very early on is we want to make things feel unique every time we see it. So you will see like similar things happening again. You'll see a lot of stuff where things are similar, like how a character's walking. But we've had to redo it because if, you know, in the 1930s, they wouldn't have been able to.
The animators basically couldn't reuse any animation they did before. Just like in the 1930s, when they had to redraw every single scene, the animators did the same thing for this show. So that was your look behind the scenes of Cuphead. It was a super ambitious show. It's really unique. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. And if you want to see more behind the scenes of awesome shows, check out more videos.